Yeah, okay. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. How are we all doing? Anthony Martial is about to sign a 5-year contract for Manchester United. You can have many thoughts about this transfer window, and I had a few this morning. But the reality is, I think if we get Martial signing a new contract, this would be the signing of the January transfer window for Manchester United. Yes, we do need to make other signings, but how many times have I said I'm a little bit concerned about Martial? Because when you listen to his agent, yeah, he was unhappy under Mourinho, but a lot of it was about they're a long way away from the money we think we deserve. And I think when it's like that, it can be a worry when they're going into the last year of their contract. So if we get Martial on a 5-year contract, for me, it gives me butterflies around here. It just makes me feel very, very, very happy. I just want to put a smile on my face because Martial's my favourite player at Manchester United, and 23 years of age. I think we're now, under Ollie and future managers, going to see what he's all about. There's no guarantees with Martial. Look, I will say that. He's not hitting the consistent... See, I get accused of being... tough on Pogba, even though people know I really like Pogba. I do go on about consistency, not being complacent, and that is obviously very, very important. But also, let's be fair to Martial, my favourite player. He has the same issues as Pogba, as does Rashford, as does Lingard. There's a few players in that United squad who we really, really like, but we need to see consistent performances from. And Martial certainly is one of those. But you know what? With the security blankets of a 5-year contract, it makes me things that make you go, it makes me go, it really does. I'll be very, very happy with it. And this is coming from Sky Sports News. So, maybe take it with a pinch of salt because we've heard these things before about David De Gea and he still hasn't signed a contract. But I think that it's coming from Sky Sports News, who are, they're reasonable. They're reasonable. And look, the fact that there is rumours he's going to sign a new contract, I think is possible, is a real positive. And as I say, I was slightly concerned about Martial, so really, really, really pleased with that, and really excited to see the development of people like Martial and Rashford over the next few years in a Manchester United shirt. Because I was going to say this tomorrow, but I'm going to say it now. I don't get... There seems to be an element in the Manchester United support that just always seems to have a player that they go in on, which I don't really think we should be going in on. Remember a couple of months ago, everyone was calling Rashford the new Danny Welbeck and Trashford, and I was like, no, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. And people were doing it. A lot of people were doing it. Some people were doing it who were on the live comments here, but I'd never shout people out for that because I'm not... What I want to say is, like, how stupid do you look now? And I think we're going through that with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw won Player of the Month, not only in August, but in September of this season. We've only had 5 months of this season, and for 2 months of it, Luke Shaw was our Player of the Month. And yet we still got a proportion of United fans going, he's trash, he's not good enough, this, that and the other. And I'm like, but for 2 months, when we were playing shit, he was our best player. And this happened last season exactly around this time. People were like, Martial's crap, get rid of Martial, we've got Sanchez now. And I was saying, he's won Player of the Month 3 times in the first 6 months of the season, I think it was. Definitely 2. No, get rid of him, he's got a bad attitude. And yeah, you got sat down again. And look, you can make your own minds up. You've got great opinions. But what I'm saying is, just be careful what you're on about with Luke Shaw, because a lot of the people who are doing that did it with Martial, made themselves look stupid. Did it with Rashford, made themselves look stupid. And actually, what's the common denominator with Rashford, Martial and Luke Shaw? They're all young talents. They can all go on and have great careers at United. And I really do believe that. So hopefully they will do. Red Baron says, can we stop expecting Shaw and Martial to play like world-class superstars when they have just been under negative crap for 4 years? Just believe in them and they will gradually get better. What a well-timed comment that is by Red Baron. Thanks for that. And Sergey Mamadov says, Mark Goldbridge Rage compilation is the most funniest thing on earth. Okay. I haven't seen it myself, Sergey, so I'll have to leave that for a note for later. But look, this morning, if you watch the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction, obviously I'm very positive about Manchester United and Ole because there's a lot of good things going on around there. But I'm not very positive about the transfer window in general because if we don't sign somebody, I think it's a risk. But there is a little bit of positivity. Fellaini has got himself injured. Some people would take that as a positive. That's not it. So he's got himself injured in the transfer window again. So we think, well, we're stuck with him for another 4 months, aren't we? Not necessarily. Not necessarily because I think it was It was one of the papers in the UK, one of the journalists saying that actually China want him, which to me, China is music to my ears, because China will play stupid money to Fellaini, stupid money to us, and we'll get rid of him. And their transfer window doesn't close till sometime in February, back arse of February, I think. So if Fellaini's back, that doesn't necessarily make any impact on that. So the other thing about Fellaini is, I've said time and time again, he's been injury prone for the last 2 years. You know, all this, he runs through brick walls, Mourinho loves him, this, that and the other. He's actually injured a hell of a lot of the time. He always seems to be injured now. I mean, why is he injured this time? But I tell you what, if Martial stays and Fellaini goes, happy days. Ollie Rogerson says, congratulations on 350,000 subscribers. You deserve it, man. It's not just me, mate. It's everybody. That's how it works on the United Stand. So congratulations to everybody. But also, there is rumours about... I mean, it's Friday Night Live, so we're always interactive on Friday Night Live. I just want to say as well, actually, just on that, because somebody went a little bit sort of personal. If you like me... and hopefully somebody does. This is the second week I've done my podcast, the live podcast. I do it at midday on a Friday on my channel. I'm really enjoying it. The link's in the video description if you want to go and watch it. If you've never knew I had my own channel, I do my own podcast and stuff. It's not hardly any of it's about football. We were talking about the Gillette advert. We were talking about Anton Deck. We were talking about all sorts of things, technology, what was good about your childhood that kids today don't get, loads of stuff, and people are really enjoying it, and I am as well. So the link's in the video description if you could be so kind to give it a watch. But what was going to say, De Gea, £400,000 a week, apparently we're going to pay him. This was a report yesterday. And I just think, on that happy days, happy days. It's Friday night, we're happy. If Martial, I'm so pleased about the Martial contract. I mean, it's not signed yet, but I'll take Friday night rumours of Martial signing a 5-year contract than nothing. I think I just really would be over the moon, because there's a big part of me that was very concerned that he wasn't going to sign a contract. So I'm just happy. I mean, I'm happy, very, very happy about that, because if we can get a player like that staying at our club for the next 5 years, then absolutely superb. De Gea, I believe, will sign a contract. I've got no doubts about it. I think De Gea will stay at Manchester United, especially if we keep this momentum about where we want to go. I think maybe we need to get Champions League to get De Gea to sign the contract, but I'm not 100% sure about that. But £400,000 a week for De Gea is... I never thought I would say that about a goalkeeper, but if ever there was a player in our squad that deserves to be the best played player in our squad, it's David De Gea. And I think it's great because it shows the dynamics of football. Throughout my life, the people who get the glamour are the Ronaldos, are the Rooneys, and sometimes the Roy Keanes, sometimes the Vidic's, but De Gea has surpassed Schmeichel, not in ability, but in his recognition level. Because he's played in such a bad side for so many years, and because he's been so good in that side and so consistent in that side, he really, for a goalkeeper, gets so much recognition, and he would be worth every penny to have a goalkeeper in your squad, your best paid player. In some ways, it's very worrying, but in other ways, I think it's absolutely fantastic because it bucks the trend and it just shows you how good he is. So yeah, let's get De Gea signed up as well. I can live with that. No, I can't. I would say this to you, I can't live with that because I think that a centre-back is so paramount for our developments this season to get top 4, and it's a massive risk. But if we come out of this transfer window with Martial and De Gea signing contracts, I would take that. It's a good transfer window, but I still think the centre-back's very important. Mike Hill, which I'll be coming back to in a minute actually. Mike Hill says, we could afford Mbappe, but we won't even buy Koulibaly. It's really frustrating to be so rich and keep it in the pocket. I agree, Mike. I really do agree with you. We are sitting on a pot of gold and we always have done, and they won't spend it. Nicholas P says, we can easily go in for a cheaper option this window and we are holding back. Our Koulibaly bid got rejected for now, so it's the best or no one. And Wilf says, even if we sell Fellaini to China, he'll deliberately fail his medical and hop on the bus back to Corrington. Well, he might do. But to be honest with you, as I've said, I'm quite relaxed about Fellaini. I want him to go. But in all honesty, there's some people who want him to stay. So you've got to respect that. Even if he does stay, what I would say is that he is a footballer that does not fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system. The only place he can play is CDM. And to be honest with you, sat in front of the back 4, playing 5-yard passes will soon irritate Ole, but it's the only place he can play. He can't play in any of the attacking. He can't play the box-to-box position because he's got no speed or passing range. He can't play the Pogba. I mean, remember, Mourinho always said that Fellaini was his deputy for Pogba. Well, that's never happening in an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer side because Pogba is the pivot. He is the one that links the midfield and the attack. He's the driving force. Fellaini can't do any of those things, and he certainly can't play in the front three position. So even if he does stay, he doesn't fit into what Ole wants to do. It would be like giving Fellaini to Pep or Klopp or Poch. They wouldn't know what to do with him because he doesn't fit into what they want to do, and he doesn't fit into what Ole wants to do either. And when Ole talks about the X factor, what he basically means is Fellaini's very good at getting on the end of hoofball, and if we needed to do it in the last 5 minutes, maybe we would use him. He would never be playing him for 90 minutes, I don't think, unless he really had to. Chunk says the celebration of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer feeling Carrick, etc. when Rashford scored versus Spurs is exactly what United have been missing. Loved it. Made me so happy to see that. There's a real good feel factor around Manchester United at the moment, and these things like Martial signing a new contract when he does can only expand that. And Brighton tomorrow, very excited. I tell you what, I'm actually a bit sad about Brighton tomorrow because I hadn't really mentioned it to anybody, but I'd been planning to go to this game for a few weeks, and me and Ross were going together, and Ross got let down today by the people we were getting the tickets off. So other than paying silly prices and being sat on your own, which we didn't really want to do, I'm not going now, so I will be doing the watch along tomorrow. Marcus was going to be doing it with Dan because it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, so we got Dan from America, so I'll be doing it now with Dan, which is great. And it does mean I get to watch Arsenal Chelsea, which I wouldn't have been able to watch because I'd be driving back, but I'm gutted not to be going because it's my first time seeing Manchester United under Ole. I've been a couple of times this season. I've seen us draw against Palace at home, which was absolutely shit, 0-0. And I've seen us draw with Wolves, which was pretty crap as well. So I was looking forward to getting my real eyes on Ole, but I'm looking to go in the next couple of weeks. But very excited that United are playing tomorrow. Very excited. And, it's only Brighton, but we've got a really exciting time at United. We're just looking forward to all our games, and very important that we get 3 points tomorrow. Red Baron says, unpopular opinion, we don't need a centre-back. I prefer Bailly and Lindelof pairing. We need a CDM over Matic. Well, Red Baron, I do agree that we need a CDM. My issue with the centre-back situation is, and I did say this today, I want to see Bailly playing tomorrow. Bailly is 6'3". I think Bailly is bigger than Koulibaly. So we talk about bringing Koulibaly in because he's defensively dominating. Why can Bailly not be that player? But will Ole, do the club trust? The thing, Eric Bailly's always been the Koulibaly Skriniar player that we need. I will not argue with anybody about that. But I have my doubts about it, and for two reasons. One, he's ridiculously reckless. He gets himself injured and sent off and gets out of position too often. He is reckless. Two, I get the feeling people in the club don't really trust him, and I think we're going to find that out tomorrow because realistically, I thought Phil Jones against Spurs gave up a lot of chances. Lindelof's been brilliant. Lindelof needs a partner. Lindelof needs a tall partner. Eric Bailly should be that partner. Will we see that tomorrow, or will we see Phil Jones? I think if Bailly plays tomorrow, then maybe we don't need a centre-back. But I don't think he will. I think he'll play Jones. And if it's Jones and Lindelof, we've got a glaring issue. Physically and height-wise, we're not strong enough. Anyway, let's talk about Steven Bergwijn, who is the PSV winger. He's 21 years of age. I mentioned him on Transfer Daily a couple of days ago. I've said before, if we're looking at a winger from PSV, it should be Lozano. But apparently we're looking at Steven Bergwijn. Bergwijn, and I'm probably getting his surname wrong. But he is a talent of the future, but apparently the interesting thing I read today is that apparently it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who wants him. Now he can play off the right, he can play off the left, he can play centrally, he can play up front, he can play off the striker. It'd be a very similar sort of player, not in the playing style, but he'd be very sort of similar to a Martial, a Rashford, who can play in any of those three front positions. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe that's a signing we could be looking at in January. It'd certainly be an exciting one. It's Guinness. It's Guinness. That's what it is. It's the Irish drink, so it is. Ollie Rogerson, Mark, I can get you tickets. My Insta is Oliver's TR74. Thanks, Ollie. I really do appreciate it. But I think it's probably going to be a little bit too late for us now because I've actually had to change plans personally to do all stuff now. So thanks. And we could have got tickets. But we just couldn't get them together. So it's just one of them things, really, at the end of the day. But I will drop you a message anyway because we might be able to change it again. Bergwijn's better than Lozano, says Davian Francis. I'll be honest, I don't watch enough PSV to know that, but I do like Lozano. So very interesting there. And it's very interesting if it's true that it's a player that Ollie wants. Anyway, do start chucking in your questions, everybody, because that's what Friday Night Live's all about. And I'll very soon be through all the topics I wanted to update you on. There's a couple more, actually. Skriniar is very close to signing an Inter Milan new contract, according to reports in Italy. If he signs a new contract, we're not signing Skriniar. It's as simple as that. So, but I think most people want Koulibaly. And the other thing I wanted to say was that, this is something I don't like as well. If anybody who's joined a little bit late, I was saying that, have we completed the signing of Nuon Emerin yet, says Nicholas P. Not that I've heard, although apparently it is imminent. Another 16-year-old coming in. I think this is the guy who models his game on Martial and Neymar. And he's 16 years of age, and he's from Amiens, isn't it? Or something like that. But I was talking earlier, a few minutes ago, about how I think there's this issue in the United fan base, which I call Arsenal virus, where we go attacking players that I don't think we should attack. Look, I've never liked Fellaini. People know that. It's not personal. It's because of the footballer he is. I don't like slow, tall, hoofball magnets. I don't. I never wanted him. I've said it for 5 years. And on this channel, sometimes people have agreed. Sometimes people have been very abusive about it. But I've been very consistent. Very, very consistent about it. Where I think we go wrong as a fan base, and something I don't agree with, is, as I said 2 or 3 months ago, people are calling Rashford the new Welbeck and Trashford. And I just think, no, he's not. He's got a lot more talent. He's just not been used in the right system. And now he is, with the right guidance. We're getting it. We had it with Martial around February, March last year. Bad attitude, get rid of him. Mourinho's right. You got sat down. We even had it a little bit with Pogba. And we're getting it with Luke Shaw now. Luke Shaw's the flavour of the month at the moment. Luke Shaw's not good enough. Kick him out. He's lazy. I've read it all. In the last week. And it's a load of bollocks as far as I'm concerned. And why are people going after Luke Shaw when we've got a list of things we need to sort out before we sort out an English 23-year-old left-back who's only just getting his first run as being our first-choice left-back. And actually, in 5 months... Well, no, we've only had 4 full months of this season. He's won Player of the Month twice. It baffles me how people just suddenly twist onto the wrong sort of players in my mind. And I don't get it. I'm fed up of our Deadwood. Get them bloody out, says Ori Langan. And Kadir Hussain says, don't get fooled by Martial signing a new contract. This was what the board want. This will take away the frustration by not making signings in January, says Kadir. Interesting point. Mike Hill, if a condition for David De Gea to stay is Champions League, might be an incentive for Woodward to buy a centre-back, but I think De Gea will sign anyway. I actually agree with you on that, Mike. I think he'll sign anyway. But going back to the previous point of Kadir about, well, it's a smokescreen getting Martial to sign a new contract because everybody will be happy. I think we're all going to be very happy if Martial signs a new contract in this transfer window, but he can sign it in February or March, so maybe they will get him to do it in January. But Manchester United fans aren't stupid. They may have odd opinions every now and again. I certainly do, but we're not stupid. We know we need a centre-back. Well, not everybody agrees with that, but we know we need a centre-back. And if they don't do that, then they're risking the chance of getting top 4. It's pure and simple. Every time. Something else that irritated me though, I've noticed that obviously Paul Ince said it, and I've noticed, I think Ryan Giggs says I'm not surprised by what Ollie's done. Phil Thompson, the Liverpool Pinocchio with his big nose, sticking his nose in business that don't concern him, saying that Ollie's been very lucky in his short time at Manchester United. And I just think this is massively, massively disrespectful from people who are sat on their arse getting paid money to talk about something they don't dare go and do themselves, or they're not good enough to do themselves. So I think it's really, really disrespectful to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because it just seems to be this perception from ex-players and pundits that, I'm not surprised about what he's done. I could have gone and done that. Paul Ince said it. Phil Thompson's saying it's easy. Ryan Giggs says he's not surprised. And I think it's really disrespectful because we went to Spurs and won 1-0. There was nothing lucky about that. Spurs just had a bit of an off day shooting-wise. De Gea was brilliant, and we were better than them in the first half. We won 1-0. Every other game we've deserved to win. So how have we been lucky? And also, how would any other manager come into this club and replicate what Ollie's done when it's clear as day to me that the vast majority of his work has been man management skills? It's very, very clear that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in a very short period of time, has demanded and earned the respect of over 20 first-team Manchester United footballers with a range of different personalities and issues, and all of them are playing for him. That takes a very, very special personality. I couldn't do it. A lot of you couldn't do it. And everybody who's cracking on about, oh, it's easy. He's had it easy. I could do it. He's talking absolute shite. Because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may not be our Manchester United manager in the future, but what is abundantly clear is that man is a people person and knows how to deal with different personalities to such an extent that he can get them on board in a very short period of time. Yeah, the results are most important on the football pitch. They're very, very important. But you don't get that if you haven't got the cohesion. He's made it look very easy because of the hard work he's done. He's made Manchester United flick a switch from dark days of Mourinho to light, scintillating, passionate days of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And people think he's just gone in and gone, go and play. And it's so condescendingly disrespectful because that's not what's happened. He's put hours and hours and hours and hours and days and weeks into, Martial looked moody. Rashford looked lost. They don't anymore. Pogba was fed up. Doesn't anymore. He's worked. Matic was absolutely shit under a manager that absolutely adored him, and he's got him playing well. He's done so much good, and it's starting to irk me a little bit. All these people coming out. He's been lucky. I could do this job. Bollocks. You couldn't do this job. Otherwise, you maybe would have been considered for it. I think he's done absolutely fantastic, and I think it's really disrespectful. Michael Asif has made a contribution, thank you. And Marwalk88, getting my Solskjaer shirt tomorrow. So excited. Thank you for your dedication, Mark. Love your content. Thanks for the contribution, pal. And he says, Solskjaer, my bad. No worries, mate. I didn't even spell. I will always paper over a spelling mistake. And LB says, lucky, why couldn't Jose get lucky this often then? Well, yeah, Mourinho, one of the best managers the world's ever had. He couldn't do that well, could he? Because it's man management. It's man management. And people think, oh, I could just go into United and win 5-6 games on the trot. Bollocks. You know what? He's made it look very easy that I think these idiotic pundits think they could do it. How many clubs actually will go on a winning streak of 8 games, 9 games, 10 games? Not many. Man City, Liverpool, not Spurs, not Chelsea, not Arsenal. A winning streak, not unbeaten for 22 games. I'm talking winning streak here. From minute one, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has won, is it 6 games in a row? It'll be 7 tomorrow. Arsenal's a tough game in the Cup, but if he wins that, we'll beat Burnley 9 games in a row. That is... I don't even need to talk about Brighton tomorrow because I think we will win. That'll be 7 games in a row. 7 games in a row is pretty impressive, and he deserves the praise. Anyway, I want to smash into some of your comments because I'm sure you've got some comeback on that. Virgil Hainsey says, funny how pundits who get it wrong about players and teams nearly daily are all of a sudden experts in team selections, tactics and game winning. Oh yeah, they speak absolute shit, the most of them. It's on the turn, that Guinness. Well, it was good half an hour ago. I've just been sipping it slowly. What do you think of Roma right winger Justin Kluivert, young talent, says Finley Dixon? He's a fantastic young talent. He's a player that we've spoken about on here for about a couple of years on the transfer shows, but he's only just gone to Roma, hasn't he? So Mino Raiola is his client. Maybe he'll come to United in the future, but I think he went there at a time when we were having an issue with Raiola, so there we go. Imrano TV, Mark, who do you think suggested Ollie in the first place? Find it hard to think Ed thought of him. I think probably Sir Alex Ferguson. Yeah, I think maybe Sir Bobby Charlton. I think Ed Woodward got him. Look, let's not forget. I never expected. I always feel nostalgic about Christmas because January's a bit of a dark month, isn't it? And you're waiting for spring and everything like that. Although the football's great, but where I will agree with Rance, although I disagree with him on Luke Shaw, he did expect Mourinho to get sacked in December, and I didn't. I didn't expect him to get sacked. And one of the reasons I didn't expect him to get sacked is because Ed Woodward would be sacking his 3rd manager since he's become in charge, and the Glazers have been there that time. So it doesn't reflect well on Ed Woodward when another manager that he's picked has failed. So I didn't think that Woodward would do it. I thought he would try and hope and pray that it would turn around, and clearly it was never going to happen. So I think what's happened here is that a decision's been made by the board that Mourinho needs to go. And it's got to such a stage that they're like, yeah, we're not listening to you completely on this, Woodward. We need to speak. We need to get our club back. We need to get the fans back on side. And at that point, I think they've consulted people who know the club. Well, they're not going to go external to people like Gary Neville, because I don't think his relationship with the club is that good, or Giggs. So I think they will have spoken to maybe Michael Carrick, maybe Nicky Butt. Certainly, I think Sir Alex Ferguson. And I think when you speak to those people, they would go, short term, get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Nicholas P. Would a Matic replacement who's more mobile make our defenders look better? A bit like our defence looks better because of De Gea. We need a more mobile CDM. No, there's no better evidence of that than when Dele Alli's running through one-on-one, Matic is trying to catch him. If you've got Kante, or you've got Ndombele, or you've got Ndidi, they catch Dele Alli and he doesn't get the shot away. Dele Alli's moving away from Matic. I like Matic. I think he's been very, very good under Jose Mourinho, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But you can't have a player that slow in that position, because they will get exploited when teams catch us on the break. Because we're going to get caught on the break. The best thing about that Dele Alli thing, somebody said, it was only one example, Mark, you're picking on Matic. I said, no, I'm not. That is exactly what's going to happen to us a lot under this system. Because look at the way we play football under Ollie. It's on the front foot. We're attacking teams, which means we're going to leave the back door open, which means you need mobility in your CDM and your back four. I think we've got mobility in our back four. We haven't got mobility in our CDM, and he can't catch up with the play. We'll get away with it this season, but going into next season, we need a more mobile CDM. And also, I think Matic will he be 31 by then? Billy the Kid. I'll make you famous. He says, Mark, at the moment, who would you ship out of United? Also, any preference for Director of Football not signing in January is crazy. My preference for Director of Football would be, I can't remember his name, I think it's Mitchell, who's at RB Leipzig, formerly at Spurs and Southampton. Who I would ship out would be Fellaini and McTominay and Rojo. They'd be the three I would move out. Darmian's clearly not going to go because the Italian transfer window closed today, I believe, unless I've been very much mistaken. So I don't know why Darmian's still at the club, but I would move him on, but probably he'll go in the summer. Kanal Bizwaz says, what happens when both Koulibaly and Bailly are off for African Nations Cup? Can't win a league like that. Yeah, but isn't the African Nations Cup now held in the summer? Because I'm sure they've just drawn it, and I'm sure it's held in the summer now. So maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe someone can come back. So it may not be such an issue. LB, how much deadwood would chuck if would? How much deadwood would chuck if a would chuck wood? Could chuck wood? I still got it wrong. Thanks for the contribution, pal. It's Paul Mitchell, says Sam Fennick. Here's a good comment from Michael L. He says, we don't need a mobile CDM. We just need a CDM who can read a game. Yeah, but no, I think we do. I mean, people think Michael Carrick... I almost expected you to put that in there, Michael. People think that Michael Carrick wasn't mobile. He was very mobile. There's that clip of Michael Carrick out sprinting Aguero only a couple of years ago. Michael Carrick was quicker than people think, but he was also a brilliant reader of the game, so it made him very, very quick. You're right, if you can read the game, you sometimes don't need pace. But where you do need pace, Michael, that Dele Alli ball, if I remember rightly, it hit the channel. It doesn't matter how quick you read the game. You can't stop somebody on the break hitting a ball into the channel if you're centrally. You can read the game as well as you like, but you can't. And Dele Alli's got his runaway, and Matic can't catch him. Yeah, it's good being able to read the game. It's very, very important. But we do need mobility in the CDM position because it just gives you that tenacity, which I think is a word that I've used a lot in that position. Brandon Roach says, if Solskjaer does not get the job and somebody else is brought in, should Solskjaer be kept on as number 2 in mind to get the job eventually? Love the show. Keep up the work. Brendan in Ireland. Brendan, you're not the first person to say that, you know. I don't know. I don't know whether Solskjaer would want to stay on if a Zidane or Pochettino came in, really, because it's... If you think about it, if Solskjaer does a really good job, which he's doing at the moment, and then he doesn't get the job, and then the people are asking him to be the assistant to Pochettino, I'm not saying Ollie wouldn't do it, but there'd be a big part of me if I was Ollie thinking, well, no, I've sort of proved myself and you've gone for somebody else, so I want to be the main man. And I think that's probably what would happen. Mad Marcus says, Fellaini is herpes, easy to get, hard to get rid of. That doesn't make sense, Mad Marcus. And also, you're a bloody hypocrite because you bloody loved Fellaini for ages. You never used to shut up about how much you loved Fellaini. Subash says, what's the headline? It's right there. Martial deal close. Sky Sports reporting Anthony Martial is very close to signing a 5-year contract for Manchester United. Happy days. Cash back of the net. Come on. And all of them. But seriously, that's got to be worth a like on the video. I think it's made my Friday night absolutely brilliant. I would play Bailly tomorrow. But I actually think he'll probably play Jones. Jose's coming back as centre-back. Do you think Sancho would suit United, says Lowell? Lowy. I think Sancho would suit most teams. He's absolutely amazing. Amazing player. Absolutely amazing. Dele Alli versus Lingard. I think they're very similar, to be honest. They drift in and out of games, but they can do great things. Ryan Carroll says, I really like Martial. I just have reservations still about his inconsistency. Spot on. Yabba dabba doo. You're absolutely right. I love Martial. He's my favourite player. But I think I probably spend a lot of time talking about Pogba, who I also like, saying he's got to be consistent. He can be one of the best midfielders in the world. You know, he's got to live up to that tag. It's a different level of expectation with Pogba than most of the squad, because he really can be one of the best in the world. And I always say it about Pogba, but actually it should be said about Martial, because Martial could be as good as Hazard or Salah, but he's got to find that consistency. We know he's amazing. On his day, he's amazing, but he's got to start doing it consistently as well. Him and Pogba are very, very similar. So I do agree. I love them both, but they have got to find some consistency, without a doubt. Marcus is a flip-flop. That was a live comment. I believe Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will try to buy the biggest Norwegian talents. Christopher Ajer from Celtic and Sander Berg from KRC Kenk. Look them up. See centre-back and DM. That's from Bjorn Lundberg. But are they good enough, Bjorn? Are they good enough? That's the thing that concerns me. I don't know. Here's the thing for you. I was asked this today, and it's not from one of you lot, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this one. How much do you think it would take to turn Manchester United into a title-winning scene? Joe Chiverton says, "Do you think Phelan would stay if we got Pochettino?" He might. I think Mike Phelan would happily stay. That's where Moyes messed up. He got rid of the backroom staff. Phelan should have been kept. The continuity would have been a lot better. Do you keep Herrera if he keeps performing, says Ari Guadaglia? I think Herrera needs to stay. Yeah, I think Herrera needs to stay. He might not, though. He might decide he wants to go back to Spain. But going back to that original point, how much do you think it needs? Because you can't say under Mourinho, we need another 200 million being spent, and then just because Ollie gets a few good results, no, Ollie's the man. I think Ollie deserves to have the same thing said. I still think that this squad is got a lot of crap in it, to be honest with you, to be totally blunt. I don't think there's a lot of depth in our squad. I think if Pogba gets injured, the midfield is screwed. I think if Rashford or Martial gets injured, we're struggling up front because Lukaku's got to play, and we don't know what we're going to get with Sanchez. And I think defensively we're a little bit weak. Centre back certainly, right back certainly, and I think the CDM position, you can't win a title with that CDM. And also, I'm willing to have the debate about whether you can win a title with Herrera. I've always said that. I said that 2 years ago when he won Player of the Year. Can you win a title with Ander Herrera as your box-to-box midfielder? I think he's a brilliant squad player. I'm not convinced he's a first-teamer in a title-winning side. And I've also said it about Lingard. I think Lingard's a brilliantly impactful player, but is Lingard, Martial and Rashford good enough to win a title? When you look at what City have got and when you look at what Liverpool have got, they've got players who are a little bit older, a little bit more consistent. And I'm not convinced that Rashford, Martial and Lingard are good enough to win a title. I'd love them to, because they're very similar. They're very youthful in many ways, although Lingard isn't. I think he's about 42, isn't he? No, he's about 26. But I think we do need a quality addition in there. Now, Sanchez could fit that bill. Maybe we've already got it, but we do. Ollie dropped Valencia after Newcastle. Ruthless, says Yaz. Oh, well, yes. Ollie can be ruthless. He certainly can. So I would think, in my honest opinion, I think United are £250 million at least from being a title-winning side. Because you need a top-quality centre-back if you're not going to use Bay. You need a top-quality CDM. So straight away, you've probably spent 150 million there, and they need a top quality right midfielder. Those three positions, and I think they could win a title. But and that's 250 million. To be honest with you, I could go up to 400 million and say we also need another box-to-box midfielder and a decent backup striker. So it just shows you how far we actually are off. I think we're 5 players away for definite. Potentially we could get away with 3, but certainly 5. And that's anywhere between 250 million and 400 million just to create a team that could win a title. And it's like Alex Williams says, we need new owners, a CEO and a director of football to compete for titles. And yeah, that was going to be my next point, Alex. Have we got the board and the chief executive that's going to spend that amount of money to get us to be a title-winning team? And do they understand that that's what's needed to win a title-winning team? Because that is 100% what I believe. I don't think, as much as I love this squad and love this club and I love what they're doing at the moment, I don't think that team that we're seeing win game after game at the moment can win a title. No way. Because a title is 38 games. A title is key players getting injured. A title is suspensions. Look at Man City. If they win the title or not, they've had De Bruyne out for most of the season. They've had Mendy out most of the season. They've had David Silva out. They've had Aguero with niggles. I mean, Liverpool have been fairly fortunate with their injuries up until now. So, United, for me, title is a great thing, but it's not really a conversation at the moment because we do need a lot of investment. Axis Nation says, hello Mark, I love the channel. Literally listen every night when I get home from work. Keep up the good work and the consistency in the channel. Thanks for that contribution, Axis. Really appreciate it. And Imrano TV, centre-back, CDM, right winger, right back, centre midfield, left back, striker. So he wants 7 positions in that order. 7 positions to satisfy the whole fan base who have a valid opinion. So probably 50 million average on each, totalling 350 million. Won't happen in one window. I agree with you, centre-back, CDM, right wing. Right back, I'm not convinced. I'm not. I think Delo can do that job. I do. Centre midfielder, I think that would be the Herrera position, so I sort of agree with you there. Left back, again, I think Luke Shaw can certainly do it. I'd put the striker after the right winger in 4th position. I think centre-back, CDM, right winger, striker are the order I would go in. What I do think we need in both full-backs positions is depth, because our backup full-backs at the moment, I mean, I'd like to see Delo and Shaw just getting a run at it. Let them make their mistakes. Let them, get some consistency. I'm happy with that. The backup fullback positions concern me because at the moment you've got Young, who I don't really rate as a fullback. I think he's a winger turned to a fullback. That's why, we all get deceived by Young because he's good going forward. That's because he's a winger. He's a crap defensive fullback. Darmian is a good defensive right back, but a terrible going forward fullback. And Valencia used to be a decent winger. Now he's a shit winger and a shit right back. So we do need some depth there. Ethan Lard, who is in the youth setup, he's very young. I think he might be only 17 now. He looks like a real talent. But obviously I think he's probably a long way off. We do need some depth in the fullback positions. Even if we keep Young, he's 34. Malwook says, how much is the chance of getting a title worth? 400 million? Has anyone done the maths? I'm new to all of this. Well, what I would say is we won't spend that amount of money. We just won't. Nathan O'Brien, we don't need a right back. You guys are clueless. Well, it's all about opinion because Roy Keane says we need a right back and a left back. As I said, I totally disagree with what's going on with Luke Shaw at the moment. I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw and I don't agree with people going in on him. But it's your opinion. But I just find it a little bit odd. How and for what performance are people going in on Luke Shaw? I keep hearing, when was the last time he put a decent cross in? Well, when was the last time bloody Valencia did or Delo did? I mean, that's something you can work on. But defensively, he's lightning fast. His positional sense, a little bit of work. His tackling is good. He's strong. I think Luke Shaw has got the absolute attributes to be a top-class left-back, and we just need to work on it. And also, on top of that, as I said, we're 4.5 months into the season. For just under 50% of that, he's been our player of the season because he won player of the month in August and September. So, I don't get it. I just don't get the Luke Shaw hate, but it's all about opinion. We might end up giving Rossi 6 months, says Manchester G. I'll tell you what, I'd bloody love it. I'd love it if we gave Giuseppe Rossi 6 months because off the bench he might be exactly what we need. Whether he'd get a look in though, because of Lukaku, is another matter. But I think somebody coming off the bench, he's a bit like Hernandez. You know, he's just lethal. Anyway, I could talk all night. I think it's been a brilliant show, and I agree with Jack Bohr-Jorgensen. If you are new, make sure you subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Big shout out to Drawty for the graphics. They're absolutely amazing. Massive shout out to all you lot because you're absolutely superb. And I just want to say, if you want a little bit more of me and you weren't aware that I do my own channel, I've got Mark Goldbridge's channel. The link's in the video description. It's episode 2 of my podcast. If you've enjoyed the last 40 minutes, give the podcast a watch because I think you'll enjoy that as well. It's not football related, but it's life related. I think you'll enjoy it. Link in the video description. Please give it a watch, and if you like it, please subscribe to that channel as well. We're back tomorrow. We've got the watch along. I'm on the watch along tomorrow. Boo-hoo, I was meant to be at the match, but I'm here for you, so that's the most important thing. And interestingly, tomorrow, if you're interested, I'm doing a Manchester United versus Brighton watch along, match reaction. Then I'm going on to That's Football to do Arsenal versus Chelsea watch along, because obviously it's a key game for us. So busy day tomorrow. Football's back. We love that. The weekend's here. Bring it on. Imrano TV says, I agree with you. Not all of the signings would be for starting. The fullbacks and striker signings would be for depth. I agree with that. Cheers, pal. And yeah, please go and give my podcast a listen. It's on YouTube. It's visual as well. Please give it a listen and subscribe, and let me know what your thoughts are. I'll see you tomorrow. Smash a like. Thanks for watching.